Good evening and welcome to this session of the live learning classes conducted by the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So I'm unable to see anybody actually signing in, but I'm sure people will join. So we will be, there are so many of you. Good, wonderful. So we have Rushita ji, Aisha, as welcome madam, and Madhav Tiwari. Oh, we have a lot of Tiwaris, yeah. Okay, Madhav Tiwari and Komal and Rajni Singh, Bhumika, Keshav Thakur, Shankaran, welcome sir, Iniyamale Vanakkam, Sudhanshu Sekhar, notable absentee as usual, Darshan. Let's see. And moving on, today we will be taking up the balance part of audit and auditors, right? So we saw various things. We saw qualifications and disqualifications. We saw appointment, first and second, subsequent, then removal, resignation, special cases we saw. In the case of fraud, in case of what happens before the expiry of term of office, so then I think we stopped at remuneration. That's where we stopped. So we will go there now. We have Manav ji, welcome sir. Kavita ji, welcome. Babangir Gosavi from the Western region. Where exactly, sir? Are you from Mumbai? Just to know, that's all. Are you from interior Maharashtra or from Mumbai? Just would like to know, because by the grace of God, I could travel a lot of our country, Hamara Bharat. And I've seen a lot of places. Yet to see a few. I'm sure he's in morning, but I'm unable to see him. Note him. Maybe some other activities are there, so he is going. No issues, absolutely. See, it's just that, if it's a physical class, we'll miss the guy. Here, those of you who note, those of you who respond, yeah. Oh, Aurangabad, fantastic, nice. Another place where I have not been, but I will 100% be coming to Aurangabad one day or the other. Because I have to see, obviously, Aurangabad is the place for seeing the great Ajanta and Ellora. And also, I want to see the Bibi Ka Maqbara. Bibi Ka Maqbara. There is the Black Taj Mahal, they say, built by Aurangzeb as part of his, sort of like he wanted to build a Taj Mahal, but similar for his concubine, he built Bibi Ka Maqbara in Aurangabad. I'm sure you've seen it many, many times. Sure, you're aware of it. Good show. So by now, most of you are aware that I like to travel a lot, and I like to note down. I'm also a photographer, so when I travel, I take photographs and all that. Good show. Let's see, Aurangabad. Let us hope. Inshallah. Inshallah. Janice Angel Mary, welcome. So let's start. Remuneration of auditors. Obviously, boss, why are we doing all these things? For the fun of it? Auditing? Just 1 second. Give me 1 minute, please. Madam, good evening. Madam, good evening, madam. I'm so sorry. See, this was a call from a person I had called in the morning, and she is calling me now regarding one construction matter. That's why I'm not avoiding this call, but I think she has mistakenly pressed my number, and that is the problem. Give me 1 minute. I have to take out the query pad again. Yes, good. Okay. So as I was saying, this whole auditing thing we are doing, of course, we are serving society, but also for remuneration. So how can that remuneration be fixed? The remuneration payable to the auditors is to be fixed by the company in general meeting. So the idea is that who appoints the auditor, not the directors, not the MD, with the exception of the first auditor. With the exception of the first auditor is appointed by the board. In case of a company other than a government company. In case of a government company, by CAG, failure then board. Then similarly for you know all that. So that being the case, the board does not appoint the subsequent auditors. It is appointed by the company in general meeting. While doing so, they will also fix the fees. But sometimes they may not. They might say, we appoint him and we empower the directors to negotiate and fix the fee, or whatever the board has fixed, we will agree. But the idea is the fee is also fixed only by the members in general meeting. Remuneration shall include facilities and expenses incurred for audit. So when you talk about remuneration, see, boss, problem is you may be stationed in one city, but the auditee may be having its places of business wherever, and you might have to go there. So all those expenses are there. Everything is included. The cost of aane ki jaane ki or khana ki or sub, everything include facilities and expenses incurred for audit. And remuneration shall exclude fees earned for any services offered at request of company. So which is why I'm saying now, in fact, the other day we had this issue about tax advisory services. Friends, there is no prohibition. We saw 144 list, tax advisory or any type of advisory services on any matter. Okay. Other than 144 matters, consulting and all you cannot do. But for example, tax, GST or income tax or transfer pricing, whatever, you can advise and you can charge a fee. That fee shall not be included you cannot solicit. Obviously, you cannot go around soliciting. But why should you solicit? See, when you go there and you're seen as an expert, they know it. So they'll come to you. Initially, they might just say, we want to meet you and come to you. They might come with an appointment. You'll meet them in your office. You'll have a discussion with them. Maybe offhand, you might give some suggestions. You might say, hey, this is what it is. Do this, do that. Then they'll say, no, sir, we want you to do it properly as an activity. Tell her, no problem, we'll do it. So, sir, we will pay you fees also. Very good. Now you are speaking a language that I like. So then we'll have a separate engagement letter. Separate engagement letters, separate deliverables, separate liability. So this is not part of my audit. So outside, over and above, the advisory service, etc. with disclaimers, you know how to do that. There should be a separate engagement letter for this. Additional services which are being rendered at the request of the company, right? Which will not be included in remuneration. See, I'm sure you are aware that as part of the Schedule 3 format, the audit fee should be disclosed in the balance sheet. One of the notes, you should clearly disclose the total fees paid to the auditors towards audit fee, towards remuneration, and then other expenses. You have to give it clearly. That remuneration shall exclude fees earned for any services at request of company. Right? One more thing. Before any of you has a doubt, I will answer that. There is no ceiling limit on remuneration of auditors. There is no way of calculation and all. Nothing. Institute has guidelines on how we are supposed to charge. There are guidelines based on time spent. Partners' time may be less, but the per hour billing will be very high. So totally we'll see how much and then we'll bill. This is how lawyers also bill. Lawyers also supposed to bill on time basis. But sometimes, for certain activities, it may not be possible. Therefore, you might go for some lump sum or contracted amount. Whatever. The engagement letter should be very clear. For example, other than audit, I'm saying, or other than audit. So suppose it's income tax representation, going to go to the department and argue a case for you and original side or appeal or per appearance so much. Per appearance so much. number of appearances. Maybe put a ceiling on it and say maximum, because otherwise I'll be tempted to put n number of maximum of 10 appearances. Try to finish it. Maximum of 10. Try to reduce it. Something like that. So that there is some sort of a control on fees. There is no law does not fix the fee as to how much. For example, there is no fee fixed to the revenue statute or the profit. No. Now we come to the concept of powers of auditors. Okay. That could be a point. Many of you might feel that this is a waste of your time, as you rightly say, because you've already studied this in Auditors. So, in fact, somebody else was also mentioning, Subham or somebody was mentioning, Korpade or somebody was mentioning that we have already studied it in auditing. Kya karna? It's my unfortunate job to teach in this topic also. Check out. Okay. Anyway, access to books of account and vouchers. Every auditor of a company shall have a right of access at all times to the books of account and vouchers of the company, whether kept at the registered office of the company or at any other place. Once he is appointed, he can say that again, that at all times you cannot misuse or misrepresent. At all times would mean during the business hours. Of course, believe me, clients also are interested in getting the audit completed. So generally, during this audit season, from, for example, say February onwards, right up to July, August, we'll be working night and day to complete the audits. Then again, once the AGM season gets over, we have a little bit of a respite for about 2 months. October, November, like that. That's luckily for us, Diwali season also. It's a little bit of respite. Then again, November, December, we'll start the interim audits. January, but that's generally up to February, it's a little lull. Then again, March, the finalizations, advanced tax discussions, interim audit discussions, issues, other go on. April, slightly free. June becomes very tight. So this is how I have found it happen. I don't know about you. So Sushil Kumar Barik, welcome. Now, so this is at all times he is entitled to the books of account. There can be nothing confidential. It is not possible for a company to say this information is confidential to the auditor. No way. There is nothing confidential. Because we see at the time of appointing us, you can take a declaration of secrecy and declaration of non-disclosure. That goes without saying. As a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, you and I are automatically bound by confidentiality. We cannot reveal any information acquired during a professional engagement cannot be revealed to anybody. Right? But in spite of that, if you want, you can take a non-disclosure. One more thing you can say. One more thing the company can insist is, they can say certain documents cannot be examined by any person other than the partner or by a qualified chartered accountant engaged by the firm. Okay. Why? Because only a member, like a partner or a qualified employee of the company, would be bound by the code of ethics. So they might say, not that article clerks do not have ethics, just that you are not bound by the code of ethics. So though when you join a large multinational firm or even a medium-sized firm, your engagement letter, your appointment letter would be clearly mentioning non-disclosure and consequence of non-disclosure, etc., etc. So, but still, certain documents, they might say, for example, minutes of the board meeting, statutory registers, they might say, no, only a partner can examine or qualified assistant, who is a member, employee of the company can. This is the only condition they can. Beyond that, they cannot say, I won't show on them to the books and vouchers of the company, whether kept at the registered office of the company or at any other place. Entitled to have necessary information and explanation. Now, when you are showing the books of account and vouchers of the company, definitely the auditor will have a lot of awareness about it. But at one point in time, he might not understand what the transactions. So he might ask, hey, what is this? Yeah, you are accounting it in this way, but what exactly have you done here? Then he can require from the officers of the company such information and explanations as he may consider necessary. These are going beyond the books of account. See, ideally, once you give me the books of account and vouchers, I should be able to understand and clearly audit and go. But at best, I might ask for original vouchers and proofs. You will give it to me. I'll verify it, etc. Or I might want you to reconcile it with a third party record and show me, or get a confirmation from a third party. But in spite of that, if the transaction is all confusing, what is the nature of the transaction? What is the substance of the transaction? The form is what you're showing me. What is the substance of the transaction? I might ask you a question, in which case there might be a need for further information and explanations. Usually this will be an email exchange. See, believe me, when the audit gets at the higher level of finalization, some of you, maybe you're not yet started your audit, but if, in case you're already doing audits, part of your articleship, you will know what I'm talking about. Certain points will be noted during the audit, which will be coming up for review. So during review, in our firm, we will see it. I will ask my manager and his team certain questions. Say, what is this? Why is it like? They will give me an answer. I may not be convinced, or I may say, hey, what you're saying is right. Ask them to change the books and present it in the way we want, as per the Ind AS or as per the IAS, or as per what we think is the correct accounting procedure. Then they go back. Then the CFO says, no, sir, this, sir, that, sir. Then I say, look here. Now no more talks. I will send a mail. You give a reply. You explain why you are doing. So he will send an explanation. I may not agree. I may say, this is what you have to do, or else I will qualify. Like, so all this gets documented, sir. How the opinion was formed. How the opinion was formed has to be clearly established. Similarly, the auditor of a company, which is the holding company, shall also have the right of access to the record of all its subsidiaries and associate companies insofar as it relates to the consolidation of its financial statements. So that I think we have to read the whole statement in conjunction with the qualification insofar as it relates to the consolidation, because the auditor of the main holding company signs the balance sheet for the company, that company. They also sign the CFS, Consolidated Financial Statement. Now, during consolidation, they might need to know, they might want to have a look at the ledger. Yes, you can. But you as the holding company auditor cannot in any way influence the subsidiaries' accounts. But if you want, for purpose of consolidation, you can have a look at the records to find out what it is, whether it's correctly represented, if you want. And then you might take a call. And you might accordingly consolidated financial statements. Okay. But this is something very important, very ticklish also. Subsidiaries are audited by one firm. This holding company may be audited by another. So it's a very, very ticklish area of professional relationship where you cannot go around. There might, but if there are mistakes, you might have to point out. It will be very delicate. That is why best suggestion is not to finalize the subsidiaries until the holding is finalized. If the subsidiaries are quickly finalized and signed off, so this sort of issues may come up. So see, it may be simply a matter of presentation. The holding company wala may say, hey, this is how it should be presented. It may be nothing, no true and fair issue, but still presentation. So it's a subsidiary also should present in this way. By then, if subsidiary is signed, what can you do? So therefore, better hold it. And then finally, once everything is signed, CFS is ready, then the subsidiary is also signed, holding signed, proceed. This would be an ideal world, but that's not how it happens in reality. Now, earlier law also this was there, 227(1)(a). Now this is 143(1). The auditor shall inquire into the following matters. The words are inquire. That means there is no reporting requirement, but he will inquire and satisfy himself. In case his inquiry results in a negative answer or in an unacceptable situation, he may take that into account in his audit report and maybe qualify or whatever. Or he may direct the company to take corrective action or within the duration. If on the 31st of March, still that issue is there, you cannot do anything. Subsequent correction, your March opinion is still going to be given on March. Okay, but you may take into account a subsequent correction, maybe note it, and maybe in your qualification report that this is now rectified, or you might decide not to go for a qualification, but rather notes on accounts, whatever. So what are these matters to be inquired? Whether loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security have been properly secured, and whether the terms on which they have been made are prejudicial to the interest of the company or its members. See, you are giving a loan or an advance. Let us say that you are giving it to a related party. Okay. Subject to section 186 and all. There are other sections that cover this area. It's not possible to give loans and advances to a company in which the directors are interested. Okay. So, whatever it is, if you are saying that it is a secured loan, do you have a real security? What is that security? Is it valuable? Does the value cover the loan and the interest? And whether the terms, for example, interest, repayment, pre-closure, whether they are prejudicial to the interest of the company. For example, if the company is borrowing at 13% interest from the bank, 13% interest, and they are giving a loan to a related party or to any other company, forget related party, for 7.5% or 8%. Think about it. It's a loss. It's prejudicial to the interest of the company. So you have to be alerted to this type of transactions. Whether transactions of the company, which are represented merely by book entries, are prejudicial to the interest of the company. Merely by book entry. That is, they have created a liability through a book entry. Now, how is it possible? Where no cash is received. Whether these book entries are really representing the company's real background. All that you have to see. Okay. Where the company not being an investment company or banking company, whether such of the assets of the company as consists of shares and debentures and other securities have been sold at a price less than that at which they were purchased. Please note, this is not applicable to an investment company or a banking company, because these two companies in the ordinary course of their business buy and sell shares. So there might be a loss which will be taken into account by them as part of their normal activity. Other than these two companies, if a company is having investments in shares, debentures, etc., see, for these companies, I will explain to you. Give me 2 minutes, Mohammed. So, when they're selling at a loss, why? What necessitated you to sell at a loss? Justification for selling at a price less than that at which they were purchased. The word prejudice. Let's look at the word prejudice, which means affecting negatively. Make a note of what I'm saying, Mohammed. Anything that affects me negatively is prejudicial to my interest. Anything that will affect me negatively. So there might be something that is beneficial to you. Beneficial. That means good for you. Whereas when what is being done is negative, is causing negative, is a negative to your interest, it is called prejudicial. So whether transactions of the company which are represented merely by book entry are causing negative effect or are negative to the interest of the company, are negatively impacting the company. Have you understood, sir? The word prejudicial will be used regularly. Without prejudice means without in any way affecting negatively the earlier statement, without prejudice. Or without prejudice, when it is used as a phrase, it means in addition to. That is, without negatively affecting the foregoing. In addition to that, this will be happening. Okay. Now, so moving on. The problem with English is some words have dual meaning, triple meaning, two meanings, more than two meanings. So that is why you have to be a little careful in which context it is used. Normally, prejudice is used as negative impact. Prejudice means negative impact. Prejudicial means having negative impact. Those of you like Mohammed who did not know, have a notebook. Like, see, loans and advances and deposits, there's slight difference. See, when the minute you say deposit, emotionally, there is a feeling that it is safe. So, really, deposits are unsecured. Whereas, loans and advances may be secured. Deposits can also be secured. But slight difference is that, this slight difference, I'll tell you where the difference is. Loans and advances, the company will go to the bank and ask for a loan advance. So, very, very minute difference. If you can argue about it also, but don't argue and waste your time. But think about it. Loans and advances, the company will approach the bank and apply. The application form will be given by the company to the bank or the lender for lending. The bank will approve the loan and give the money. Whereas in deposits, the depositor will apply to the company. The company will approve that and accept the deposit. So there's the slightly, in the case of deposits, the borrower is on a higher level than the lender. Whereas in loans and advances, the lender is in higher level than the borrower. That is because in loans and advances, there is a single lender giving a huge amount, powerful. Whereas in depositor, so many bakras are giving. Okay, all of them together are powerful. But single one man, no, he'll come and beg you. So that is why deposits are also preferred by corporates. Because one single lender can control you. Whereas so many depositors, you can control them. So long as you pay them the interest, so long as you keep them happy, they keep on giving you money and no questions asked. So both are, so when you show, which means deposits give some sense of something. So when you are showing it as a deposit, it gives a slightly better picture. 1. 2, you can't classify loans and advances as deposits to overcome any legal provision. Because there are many controls on loans to directors and, other companies and all. You cannot circumvent those provisions by classifying these loans and advances as deposits. Therefore, okay. Bhumika, point C with example. Madam, ABC Limited is a manufacturing company. ABC Limited is a manufacturing company. It is having a 20% stake in another company, let us say, B Limited. 20% stake, 2 lakh shares, let us say. Now, these shares were bought by this company at 10 rupees investment. 10 rupees per share they bought. They are not a banking company, they are not an investing company. Now, these 10 rupees shares they are selling to the promoters of that company B Limited at 8 rupees. Below par, 2 rupees loss. Why? Because you bought it at 10 rupees. Why are you now willing to sell it at so low price? If they are doing it, there should be a justification for it. If you have a justification, okay. Maybe you can say the promoters, the company is running at a loss. See, the valuation of that company is 7 rupees. When I value that company today, even on an insolvency basis, I'm getting 7 rupees per share. There's an erosion of net worth. Luckily, the promoters are saying we are going to revive the company. We are going to revive, they are saying. And for that, what they are saying, I will give you 8 rupees. Now, in reality, what has happened? A share which is worth only 7 rupees, I am able to sell at 8 rupees. In a way, I'm saving 1 rupee. So, but at the same time, it is a loss for my original cost. So now you are giving some justification for it, like that. If no justification is there, what I will tell you another way of doing it. Maybe another story I'll tell you. You sell this share you buy the share at 10 rupees. 5 years later, he is having a problem, he wants to, but what he says, hey, 10 rupees share, 10 rupees only. The company shares are worth 12 rupees or 11 rupees. But it's all in a flux and having some issues and all. Now you say, we will give the share to you, 10 rupees share. But the transaction will book it at 8 rupees. Loss. We'll book a loss. The 2 rupees you give to me in cash. Something like that could be there. So the auditor is asked to inquire why. Okay, madam. I have given the best explanation possible. Whether, believe me, you and I as auditors, we are not paid to believe. We are paid to verify. In fact, many times I even tell my clients and their finance departments, my dear friend, I am a chartered accountant in practice and I am auditing your company. I am not being paid to believe you. I am being paid to audit you. So kindly tell me what I want. If not, so this is your right as an auditor. Whether personal expenses have been charged to revenue account. Okay, how will you know that? That you have to see the original bill and find out. See, my dear friends, the terms and appointment of the managing director could include reimbursement of club expenses. And he's paying tax in his hands for that. Because reimbursement of club expenses will be taxed. It's a perquisite. But once I reimburse him, it is for business promotion expenses, I can book it. And it is part of my salary cost. But whatever it is, pure personal expenses should not be charged to revenue account. I will come to your question, Avadesh, in a very short while. Before that, personal expenses charged to revenue account, there is a nice story that I've heard. Interesting story where an accountant, Munimji, you can say, Munimji was employed by a Seth. So the Seth used to give him all the vouchers and all that, and Munimji will enter it and prepare the accounts and all that, etc., etc. One day, that Seth's mother-in-law passed away. Chalo. Sad event. So for that mother-in-law funeral expenses, that was spent. 7 lakh rupees was spent for mother-in-law funeral expenses. Now Sethji comes to office on after all that and gives the vouchers to Munimji. Says, look here, these are all mother-in-law funeral expenses. You account it in such a way that give it a nomenclature that nobody will question it. If it had been a physical class, I'd have asked you all to give me some terminologies. In my physical classes, I used to ask. So there are 100 people are there. About 10 or 15 will give all sorts of answers like miscellaneous expenses, sundry expenses, like that. Entertainment expenses, no, that's not correct. Mother-in-law funeral is not entertainment. Okay, sorry. Finally, the Munimji was thinking what to do. Finally, he termed it clearing and forwarding expenses. I don't know how much sense of humor CA students still have, but I hope this. So clearing and forwarding. Okay. So, sometimes there is mismatch in transaction between holding company and subsidiary. Holding company decision control gives negative impact. Sir, if there is a mismatch, it is wrong, sir. If there is a mismatch, you cannot sign the balance sheet. You have to qualify. So please do clarify. Mismatch, numerically, no. There can be no mismatch. Numerically, no. If there is a mismatch, means the holding shows one number and the subsidiary for the same transaction shows another number. Sorry, you cannot sign. You should also tell the subsidiary auditor to correct it, because mismatch not possible. I don't know what you mean by mismatch. If there is a mismatch, there is a wrong. Accounts are wrong. You cannot certify unless it is corrected. Till then, I will not certify. Mismatch, meaning you are showing the transaction at 5 crore, fellow is reflecting it at 4.5 crore. No, I can't allow it. 5 crore. So a holding company decision control gives negative impact and had higher significance role in. I don't know what you are trying to say. Your English is. In Tamil Nadu, we have one famous actor called Kamal Hassan. Sometimes when Kamal Hassan speaks, nobody will understand what he's saying. Even he won't understand. Sometimes, Avadesh Kumarji, your paragraph is like that. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. And then finally you are saying pump and dump. See, if you want to do some golmaal with holding subsidiary, that's a different story, ma. You have to do it only in pricing. Pricing only. When there are transactions between holding and subsidiary, you can do that in pricing. Only in pricing you can do pump and dump and all that. Whatever you call it, pump and dump. Whatever it is. You are trying to increase profit in one company, reduce it in another company. Okay, that is domestic transfer pricing issues will come. Ultimately, you will end up 48(2) will come. Income Tax Act will come. So I'm really not able to understand where you are coming from. But if such things are attempted, believe me, auditors are not fools to watch it happening. It will be qualified. Today, pump and dump and all you cannot do so easily. India is there. Related party transactions is there. So many things are there. You cannot do this type of stuff. Arm's length price is there. You cannot just like that do. And transactions cannot be misrepresented in there. You cannot show in one account, you cannot show loans and advances. It happened in one of my cases. Holding company is showing it as a loan. Subsidiary is writing it off as showing it as an income. Right? He should show it as an expense, Baba. Let him expense it. Because here you are showing it as an income. Here the expense it. How you can show it as an advance? This type of mismatches, as you say, if it is pump and dump or whatever you call it, pump and jump or whatever you call it, I will jump that fellow first. I cannot allow. I will qualify subsidiary and go. Or else I'll say correct the holding book. Or you correct it. You show it as a loan here. Fine. You don't show it as income this year. You show it as a loan. Whenever you want to convert it to income, do it. As of now, for me, it is a income. Like that. So I'm just saying. So pump and dump may not be possible if the auditor is a little intelligent. Only if the auditor is a little casual, you can do pump and dump. I mean, if the auditor himself is colluding in that pump and dump activities, be careful. We already saw the liabilities of fraud and all that. So be very, very careful about doing such pump and dump activities. Hopefully, I have answered your question, sir. You are right. In those days, there was a lot of pump and dump and all. Today, with the powerful Ind AS, accounting standards themselves getting more clarified, transparency in reporting, and heavy penalty for misreporting, it's very, very difficult for you to do pump and dump. If any company is attempting it, directors are also in trouble. And the auditor will, sir, it's worth much more, sir. How much fees that fellow give me, boss? That fee is not worth what he's trying to do there. It's not worth for me. I won't sign and do. Add measly fees you are paying me, right? You are paying me, what, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs? Chalo, I learn it somewhere else here. I can't do this nonsense and go to jail. You saw the punishment for fraud, where the fraud is there. Let's be very, very careful about such things. It can, if it is happening, it is wrong. That is my answer to you, Avadesh ji. So, okay. The auditor, while making the report, shall take into account the provisions of the Act, the accounting. See, just now we are discussing, it is coming, 143.2. You have to consider all these things, the provisions of the Act, the accounting and auditing standards, and matters which are required to be included in the audit report. In addition to that, sir, you may also have to consider income tax impact. Merely because you are conducting a company audit, you cannot just like that wash your hands and run away. You have to see, because you may represent in one way in your Schedule 3 balance sheet. But tomorrow, how are you going to do it in Income Tax? Income Tax Act has certain conditions. The Income Tax Act has its own set of accounting standards, so which you have to comply with. So you have to be careful about how you are reporting. Okay. Under the provisions of this Act, or any rules made thereunder, or under any order made under Section 143(11). We'll see that. So, in case I have not been able to understand your question, Avadesh Kumarji, kindly clarify, but whatever I have understood, I have answered it. The auditor shall express his opinion on the accounts and financial statements examined by him. What we give is our opinion. What is the opinion we are giving? The balance sheet and profit and loss account give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company for the year ended so and so, and as on that so and so. Okay. So this is what we give. He shall express, see, that's what. This is your statutory wording. What you studied in auditing is from the Companies Act. He shall express an opinion that according to him and to the best of his information and knowledge, please note that, best of his information and knowledge, not knowledge and belief. You cannot believe, you should know, and you should have information. You do not express an opinion about belief. What you believe, you cannot give an opinion. What you know and the information that you possess, only that you can give an opinion. So knowledge, information and knowledge, which is why too much you can't take management representations. MRs means management letters and all. Too much you cannot take. Boss, stock value, you cannot take a management letter, ma'am. How much you can take management letter? Then everything will take management letter, is it? So boss, your job to verify whether that stock is there. You have to use some method. Okay, if the stock is very high, then you have to see how is the stock being accounted. Whether there is a system, consistent system, then you examine that system, and then you test check, and then you do a random check, and you find that across these things, and then you do an audit in depth of the stock transactions. In spite of that, at least 60% value items you have to take. Value of 60% you have to take stock. And that day some stock taking should be done. You should also join the stock taking and observe what happened. Whether on that day no stock man, you are certifying the stock, tomorrow you'll be in trouble. Merely taking a letter from the management is not going to help you. Sorry. Okay. Where you can take a letter, in some cases of conflict, the opinion, they can say, this is the view we have taken and this is what we are showing in the books. For our safety, tomorrow they should not come back and say, you have not advised me or you have not told me. Say, I told you. Then you said this is what you're going to do. Now you're doing. Consequently, I'm not responsible like that. So, to the best of his information and knowledge, whether the said accounts or financial statements give a true and fair view of the state of the company's financial affairs or affairs at the end of its financial year and profit and cash flow for the period. So, you give your opinion on three things. One, on the position as on the last date, and the profit or loss and cash flow for the year, the period, and such other matters as may be prescribed. Okay. You should also mention whether you have sought and obtained all the information and explanations which to the best of your knowledge and belief. See, here belief. You believe this is what is needed in due course. Okay. So, which to the best of his knowledge and belief were necessary for the purpose of his audit. And if not, the details thereof and the effect of such information on the financial statements. Whether in his opinion, proper books of account are, as required by law, have been kept by the company so far as appears from his examinations of those books, and proper returns have been received from branches not visited by him. Because usually the branch auditor will send a branch audit report together with any reservations, whether that has been seen. Whether the report on the accounts of any branch office audited under subsection 8, we'll be seeing branch audit, by a person other than the company's auditor has been sent to him, and the manner in which he has dealt with in preparing his report. See, the branch auditor might have sent a serious qualification as to certain things. It's now your job as a statutory auditor to take that into account. If there is no negative reporting, if everything is clean, then no problem. But if there is anything there, then how have you dealt with in preparing your report? Sir, when you are doing bank audits, firm like mine, which was category B, smaller firm with only 3 partners, 4 partners, we are going to audit only branches. Okay, we have audited some large branches, but still it's a branch. And the guy signing the bank's balance sheet is the central statutory auditor sitting up there on top. Now, the central statutory auditor will be receiving the branch audit reports from all of us. Now, in my audit report as the branch auditor, I would have qualified. Instead of not qualified, I would have passed a memorandum of change. I might have noted a change, MOC. That MOC means I'm saying this. They have classified it as substandard, whereas that loan is a doubtful asset. In the NPA norms, I'm reclassifying it as doubtful. Now, it goes to the central statutory auditor. Either he has to take it into account, or if he's going to ignore it, he should say why. See, on one ground, I can ignore it and proceed with my main statutory audit report, central statutory audit. Materiality. I can say what is noted here is too small, I don't want. By then, I have already found. By the time these fellows sent, I got it, I've sent it. Finalized. No more. But materially not worth like that. But if it is materially important, big amount, then if you leave it out, then branch auditor escapes. No liability. The statutory auditor gets into trouble. Because you should have dealt with in your report. How have you dealt with it? If you have not dealt with it, then you are not. Okay. He told you why you didn't listen. So this is something you have to do. Whether the company's balance sheet and P&L accounts dealt with in the report are in agreement with the books of account and returns. This is the balance sheet referred to in my report as of even date. You remember when we were studying accounts, I told you the directors and CEO, CFO, company secretary, everybody has to sign. And that signed balance sheet will come to the auditor. The auditor will also sign. Maybe 2 copies, 3 copies. 1 copy I will keep. 2 copies I'll give it back to you. Later on, if anybody is asking me, the company's management fraudulently substitutes the balance sheet with some bogus balance sheet and distributes it with my sign. For my sign won't be there. They will say signed. Srikanth, partner, Karpagam Krishna Rajan, whatever they're doing. No problem, do it. Finally, if at all I am called by NFRA or by institute or whoever, boss, what's your problem? Show me the balance sheet which you say I have signed. Show me. Oh, okay. Now, wait. I take my file out and take this balance sheet. Look here. Is this balance sheet Signed by these guys? Yeah. Have I also signed it? Yes. This is the balance sheet referred to in my report as of event date. This is the profit loss account referred to in my report as of event date. Whatever these guys have sent, I have not signed. So this is my best evidence. I won't give the original. Take a copy, keep it. Wherever you go, I'll come and show that original and escape. So that is how we'll protect. Obviously, they won't play games after that because they know I've got the original now. They can't play. Okay. If some frauds are doing it, that is the only way to protect ourselves. Today, luckily for us, even one thing better is happening, which is the UDIN. Our institute has really given us this great benefit. Okay. Any certificate, anything which I am signing, tax audit, statutory, whatever, I'll be giving a UDIN. That UDIN is very important. We have UDIN registered. We tally it. Monthly, we tally it with how many certificates are issued, balance sheet signed, everything. UDIN will be tallied and noted. Nature of the certificate, nature of the signature. So that tomorrow, if there is any issue, I can always say, show me the UDIN. Okay, I signed your saying. This is uploaded with UDIN. Now, which UDIN you did? So I'm not joking. In one professional misconduct case against one of our other members in South India, the poor fellow comes to me and he shows me no UDIN at that time. The client has forged the signature and given to the bank. The bank also has taken that forged document, given a loan. Subsequently, when that fellow became NPA, did not repay, they have simply turned back on the auditor and said, you only signed this balance sheet fraudulently. He said, I didn't sign it. The stock, they have given some stock figure. Stock is not there. So they said, I have not certified this. Where is the proof? It's your signature. Luckily, I helped that gentleman to go to the disciplinary committee. We were able to prove that with some signature verification and all, with his other signature. But it took a long time, and by then this man was suffering. Today, no problem. Recently, I got a call about, before the pandemic, around 2019, I think. 19, I got a call from a gentleman saying, I'm a reporter from, investigative journal, some nonsense. I said, yeah, good sir, I'm very happy to know. Tell me, what can I do for you? Said, we are receiving a news that your firm has signed certain certificates for getting drawbacks from government department, that you have issued fraudulent certificates. We want to report this matter. But before doing that, we want your view on this. I said, can you tell me the name of the client? I can't reveal all that, but it is for duty drawback purpose to the Director General of Exports. You are given. You have received some information. He thought I'll be afraid. I said, yes, sir, I totally appreciate your call. As a press, you have to report everything. But tell me one thing. Do you know the UDIN number at least of, you say I'm issuing a certificate now. Do you know the UDIN number? I asked. Can you give me the UDIN? Because only if you give the UDIN number, I can locate that certificate in my register. That fellow did not know about UDIN. He's an uneducated fellow. The reporter, useless fellow from local fellow, doesn't know it. What is UDIN? I said, if you don't know UDIN, what are you doing, man? He said, UDIN. Oh, UDIN. What is that UDIN? Then I told him, now come. I'll come to the point. Tell me your name. I want to file a suit against you for defamation. You are saying, no, he was thinking that I'll be afraid and give him some money not to report and all. Some fools are giving, I believe. I said, give me UDIN. Then when he realized that I'm threatening him, he kept the phone. And after that, I never got a call. Just to give you how much people are fraudulent, people are running around and innocent chartered accountants are getting trapped. I don't know, but with UDIN, these fellows are not aware that UDIN is there. They think they can play some games with us. UDIN is something that's really protecting us. And we should, if any certificate I issue UDIN. Without UDIN mentioning, I will not give a certificate. So the observations and comments of the auditors on financial transactions on matters which have any adverse effect on the functioning of the company. Okay. If in case you are giving qualifications, whether any director is disqualified from being appointed as a director under subsection 2 of section 164, meaning in this company, whether the company has filed its annual return and financial statements, whether there is any default, you have to certify. If in case this company has defaulted, then the directors are disqualified. Suppose you report it. That is how they will come to know about it. You have to check out if any director is disqualified. You have to find out where all they are there, whether those companies have filed annual report, etc. And you have to certify. There's no director is disqualified. Mohammed, I don't understand. You are a dad of pressman. No, I'm the father of an advocate and a company secretary. My son is my son is an advocate and my daughter is a company secretary. I'm not the dad of a pressman. I don't know what you mean by dad of pressman, but I'm not the dad of a pressman. Okay. Nor will I want to be, if this is the quality of these fellows. Okay. Whether the company's balance sheet, whether any director is disqualified, all that we have seen. Any qualification, reservation, or adverse remark relating to the maintenance of accounts or other matters connected therewith. So this is where you give the qualifications. Whether the company has adequate internal financial controls with reference to financial statements in place and the operating effectiveness of such controls. Friends, this is not about internal controls. In your audit, as part of your audit, you will verify the adequacy of internal controls. This is only internal financial controls with reference to financial statements. How they are prepared, how they are altered, who has control, whether there is an audit trail. Such other matters as may be prescribed, there are. You remember, Caro is there. That is a prescribed. Where you are answering anything in the negative or a qualification, you should state the reason for the same. Now, for 143.3.1i, 143.3i, it was introduced in 2015. For the financial years commencing on or after 2015, the auditors report of the auditor shall state about existence of internal financial controls. Okay, so only this I became operational only from 1/4/2015. If you want to give for before that, one more year, because obviously this came during 14-15. This came during 14-15, which means your 14 accounts could also be unsigned. So if you want to give 14, also if you want to talk about internal financial control, that is your reason. But it's becoming operative only on or after 1/4/2015. So 31/3/2015 accounts only, you will have to give this. 1/4, if you want to give, you give. Otherwise, no. You may voluntarily include. No, I don't think anybody would have done. Am I a fool or what? If a private company is exempted from 143.3i, we saw that now. If it is only if it is an OPC or small company, if it has a turnover less than 50 crores or aggregate borrowings from financial institution, banks or any body corporate at any point in time during the financial year, less than 25 crore. On 31st March, it may not be. But during the year peak, if it is 25 crore, then also you are not getting the exemption. But if you're able to show that you are a OPC or a small company, or your turnover is less than 50 crore, or you have aggregate borrowings which is at any point of time during the financial year less than 25 crores, then okay, I get you, Mohammed. So that's, in other way, you're saying pressman ka baap. I agree. Pressman ka baap. In India, you will understand. Pressman ka baap. Yeah, absolutely. Good show. So I think what you mean is you are pressman ka baap. Yes, 100%. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Correct. Good show. Thank you, Mohammed. Okay. Retrospective effect. Not exactly retrospective effect. Shivam ji, welcome. Not exactly retrospective. See, the purpose of this is not retrospective. Because if they wanted it to be retrospective, they would have stated here clearly that it will be applicable for financial years commencing on or after 1/4. Though it is coming after that date, they will make it applicable to a date. But this is not retrospective. Retrospective means it will be mandatory for everybody. No. If you want, you can do voluntarily this. Whereas retrospective means compulsorily all of us should go back. And from the earlier date, we have to give. Whether a law can have retrospective effect or whether a rule can have retrospective effect, the answer is yes. But by and large, you should avoid retrospectivity, they say. But the government can introduce laws that are retrospective in nature. Okay. though a taxing statute should normally not have retrospective effect. Normally not have retrospective. Later on, when you come to interpretation of statutes, we will talk about retrospectivity and how much you can make it retrospective. Retrospect means to look back, to think back. Prospect means to look forward. Prospect means to look forward. Prospective means futuristic. Retrospective means past. So when you make a law applicable from a date before the date of notification, it is called retrospective law. So retrospectivity is possible. The Parliament, the Constitution of India gives the power to the Parliament and the central government to give retrospective. State government also can give retrospective effect. But with limitations. You can't just like that do retrospective as you please. Then the constitutionality can be questioned in a court, High Court or Supreme Court as the case. Okay. Now we go on to what is known as the CAR. CAR. Earlier we called it Caro because under the old law it was done through a separate government order, GO. So it used to be called Caro, or before that we had in the 70s we had what is known as Mao Caro. That is manufacturing and other companies auditors report order. Then that was amended many times, Mao Caro. Then it became Caro because service industries became more. So they wanted to include service industries, banks and all. So they said Caro. Now it is CAR, CAAR, Companies Audit and Auditors Rules 2014. Hey, buddies, I'm sure you guys are experts in this, yeah. Hey, folded arms, I'm apologizing that I'm even teaching this to you guys, yeah. Like Darshan did the right thing. Why waste his time listening to all this nonsense from a person who possibly does not know it? Correct. So you know CAR very well. So 100% don't worry, I will not get into CAR. CAR won't be there. CAR, it's there in your auditing syllabus, not here. So the auditor's report shall also include their views and comments on, see the problem with the audit report as we have seen now, the 143 auditor report is, it is bland. It doesn't give details. It doesn't answer specific questions. So they said, that's why they said any other matters as may be prescribed. And one of the prescribed matter is your CAR. So they say the auditor's report shall also include their views and comments on whether the company has disclosed the impact, if any, of pending litigations on its financial position, has made provisions as required under any law or accounting standard for material foreseeable losses, if any, on long-term contracts, including derivative contracts, has delayed in transferring amounts required to be transferred to the IEPF. These are specific answers. Has provided requisite disclosures as to holdings as well as dealings in SBN. Boss, SBN is no longer valid. SBN was 811 to 3012. That is khatam ho gaya now. But still, at that time, the MCA, see, whenever government, especially the current ruling government, brings some new concept, MCA will immediately want to be part of it. Some amendment they'll give in the Companies Act to show that they are also actively a party to this. So they'll give some, like one of these was, when SBNs came, they said, what can I do to add to the confusion? Okay, I will do this. I will tell whom I can control, only companies, because I'm companies, in charge of companies and LLPs. So I will instruct these fellows. Whatever whenever any SBN is there, you have to report it in the companies. Boss, already Income Tax Act, we are covering it. They are giving a detailed report there. Companies are also giving. Again, here they want to give 100 disclosures that SBN. Okay, holdings as well as dealings in specified banknotes thing. But one thing that the MCA forgets, and I'm sorry to say idiotically forgets, is, see, if a company is going to have cash balance in SBN, 100% it will be disclosed in the books of account now. The whole point of this demonetization was to catch people who were having cash which is not disclosed in the balance sheet, in their balance sheet. The idea was man had cash, obviously not disclosed in the income tax return or in the balance sheet, or even man had. Now, so when the demonetization came, this fellow is sitting on a pile of, he goes into his locker and sees 500 rupee, 1000 rupee notes, does not know what to do because it's not in his balance sheet. Now, if this fellow takes it and deposits in the bank, obviously banker will ask, hey, where is it? Small amount, nobody will know. Big amount, where did it come from? Already that was being covered in the Income Tax Act. You have to file a specific return to say how much SBN you deposited in the bank, and along with the reasons for it. So most cases we will say it has come out of this, it has come out of that. We will give whatever. But for company, this is redundant thing, because how can the company have SBN which is not reflected in its balance sheet? The cash balance will be reflected in the balance sheet. That only will be deposited. If it is SBN, obviously they won't keep it. Yeah, they'll go and deposit it. Simply they waste everybody's time on this nonsense. They should think a little bit. If a company is having SBN, and it's not disclosed in the balance sheet, will they go and deposit in the bank, sir? Nobody will deposit it. But individual at least can escape. What he can say, my father died. At the time of death, the man was hiding it in the bed, under the bed or somewhere, in one cupboard in our house. Now when the SBN thing came, I went and opened the cupboard and I was digging around. But suddenly I found 5 lakh rupees in old SBNs. What to do? I came and deposited. I mean, this is a story, okay? Now, but individual can tell the story because individual can have Bab. Who will be company ka Bab? Huh? It's not possible now. So, seriously, this story so many people have told during demonetization. Suddenly, my grandmother's bureau we opened. She had kept what all my grandfather gave. She was keeping it safely, that cash. She didn't spend it in the old SBN note. Now I have discovered it. I'm putting it in the bank. Fantastic story. But it cannot be told for company. Sorry to think, but I'm telling you, unthinkingly they will pass rules and all that. Waste of time for everybody. Filing paperwork and bureaucracy. Anyway, every auditor shall comply with the auditing standards. The central government may prescribe the standards of auditing or any addendum thereto as recommended by the ICAI. Who will recommend? Yeah. Central government knows what is auditing. They have studied CA. They have cleared the exam. Have they passed? Any central government employee has passed the CA exam, auditing exam? Maybe. Even then he would be a member, boss. Individual, I'm a member. I cannot prescribe auditing standards, even if I'm government. It is only the council of the institute with this specifically constituted expert committee. Only they can come out with the standards of auditing. Okay. Right. You prescribe it. That you can do. We will recommend it as recommended by the ICAI in consultation with and after examinations of the recommendations made by the NFRA. Okay. The National Financial Reporting Authority. I will take it as a joke, Mr. Shiva Tiwari. Company has parent. Yeah, that only subsidiary will have. No natural parent. This whole BAP concept has come only because of Muhammad. Anyway, I hope you understood the logic of what I am trying to say. An artificial person cannot have any cash which is not disclosed in the balance sheet. Okay? If such cash is there, obviously that cannot be reported by the auditor, boss. See, how will the auditor come to know about it? It will be hidden. And seriously, we are wasting time. Why should that fellow show it? He will take it home. How will he take it out of the books? First of all, it is good. It's a fraud, ma. It's a bigger fraud. It's a bigger fraud. That means that underlying fraud is there. That you have not disclosed. So, better not deal with that type of nonsense companies. Better not have audit of such companies. It is further provided that until any auditing standards are notified, any standard or standards of auditing specified by the ICAI shall be deemed to be the auditing standards. Okay. Now, in respect of such class or classes or description, the CG may in consultation the infra direct that the auditor's report shall also. So accordingly, Caro 2016 was issued. Now it has become Caro. Caro issued and complied. So I'm not going into Caro also because Caro, okay, is seriously you are familiar with it. I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, it has been subsequently amended many times. 21 it was amended. You know that. I'm sure you have studied it in depth. Now we come to another very interesting and again a throwback or wash effect of the Satyam scam. See, in Satyam scam, one of the things was there was a fraud that was not reported by the auditor. The auditor claimed that he was not aware of the fraud. The auditor claims that he was not aware of the fraud. But they now became alerted. They said, let's put a clause here which says there is a duty on the part of the auditor to report fraud. Report. See, friends, statutory audit is not a fraud finding mission. It is not a forensic audit. In the natural course of statutory audit, if there are suspicious circumstances, an auditor shall not fail to investigate. In fact, there is a case law for this. I'm sure you are familiar with the case law from your auditing paper. I do not know. Okay, you are right. Bhumika, sorry. Now it is Caro. Earlier it was, Car was only these 4 points. You are right. I take it back. Car, Rule 11. Now it is separate order. Caro, I totally agree with you. I'm so sorry. That's what I said. You are all expert in this topic. Yeah. I am Buddhu. I don't know anything about it. Caro 2020 and all, I don't know anything. Okay. Don't worry. Your auditing teacher would have taught you whatever he taught you, 100% you would be, you write in the exam, you will get high marks. I am not teaching auditing. I am teaching only company law. There is an overlap here between the two. Maaf kar dijiye, Bhumika ji. Sorry for misleading you. So, coming back to the point, reporting of frauds. See, there was a famous judge, Lord Denning. Thank you for the clarification. There is a famous judge called Lord Denning. Now, Lord Denning gave a very famous case, judgment. Okay. Panorama Development was a Selsdon fountain pen company, where he very clearly gave the view that auditor is no longer only, liable for reporting, but he also has to go into the matters of fraud. Where his suspicions are aroused, he shall not fail to investigate. Before that, the judgment was Kingston Cotton Mills case, where the judgment was very clear. It said the auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Meaning, your job is to protect. You do not hunt and find out the criminals and all. So, auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Either way, I am a dog. Huh? But then Denning said, no, you are not a dog. You are a human being and you are responsible for reporting fraud. He said, where the suspicions are aroused, you should not fail to investigate. And you should go there and find out and report what is what. So you cannot blindly close your eyes and say, what I'm seeing for one day, I don't care. So that is being further strengthened by the statute. There is a responsibility on the statutory auditor for reporting fraud. Notwithstanding anything contained in this section, if an auditor of a company, in the course of the performance of his duties as auditor, has reason to believe that an offense involving fraud, which involves or is expected to involve individually an amount of 1 crore or above, is being or has been committed against the company by officers or employees of the company. Has been committed against the company by officers or employees of the company. So here we are now talking about fraud being committed against the company. Okay. Where the amount which fraud involving amount of 1 crore rupees or above, okay, is being committed by the officers or employees against the company. He shall immediately report the matter to the central government within such time and in such manner as may be prescribed. Where the fraud is less than 1 crore, it will be taken to the audit committee. The idea is, if the auditor has some hesitation in whom to go to, this section gives him clarity. It says, look here, you have gone through, for example, there is a clear case where the directors of the company are siphoning the funds. How? Goods are being sold by related companies or by unrelated companies, but at prices which are far higher than market prices. So you go through the purchase audit and you find that no quotations are being called for. Nothing is there, or maybe quotations are coming from dummy companies. all are near that, lower than this price, and this price is being higher than this. See, they are charging a higher price. The other two guys are charging even higher than that, so that this becomes L1 and they get it. But what I feel is, hey, this price itself is very high. So they go to the marketplace and I get competitive quotations. I give the same specifications and I say, hey, I want this thing, how much? So I'm getting clear-cut arm's length quotations that are 25% less than this lowest quotation. Now I'm being very careful because it's clear case of fraud. Yeah, they're taking this price which is 25% above the market price, or 20% if you're taking on cost. Then they're doing it. That's a fraud there, committed by the officers against the company. It should be reported. If the total value is coming to more than 1 crore, then you have to report it to central government. Otherwise, you have to report it to the audit committee. Less than 1 crore audit. So the auditor shall report to board within 2 days of his knowledge, seeking reply or observations within 45 days. First thing is, you shouldn't go directly to the central government. You should not go directly running to the central government. First, you should report to the board within 2 days. This is for fraud above 1 crore. Less than 1 crore, you go to the audit committee. Above 1 crore, first you report to the board within 2 days of knowledge, seeking reply for observations within 45 days. For example, you'll say, we have gone through this. We find, hey, but if you have reached that stage, your position as an auditor will be seriously threatened because the management will be against you now. This is when they may try to remove you before the term of office and all. Now you understand the context? You are going for a serious fraud investigation on them. Now they know you are going to do this. If you report it, they are out. So they will rush to the tribunal and say, this man is arrogant. He is throwing weight around, shouting. He is abusing us. Some nonsense they will say. But the bottom line is, I am going and doing an investigation. So it's up to you who will go first. Whether you will go or they will go. You go quicker to the central government. So you first send to the board. The minute you send this letter to the report to the board, they are out. They are out because this is a document now. This cannot be taken away from the record. You cannot, at no stage you can compromise now. Once you have sent the report to the board, you cannot take back. Then on receipt of reply, which may be satisfactory or not, obviously it not be said, they will give some nonsense reply. You simply go to central government along with your comments to the central government. So you send them a question, they give an answer, you are not satisfied, you give a further comment. They are saying like this, but how can it be possible? This is what my view. Send it to the central government. In case there is no reply from the board, there is no receipt from the board of anything from the board, then don't bother. Forward the report directly, clearly saying, we have sent the notice, the board has not deemed to reply. Right? Then central government will take action as the case. But then once you do this, the relationship will become unpleasant. But you are protected, don't worry. They cannot remove you. Before the expiry of your term of office, they cannot remove you. In this background, if they do that, that alone is enough now. When the tribunal is calling for your view, what you will say? Immediately you will send them in that when they are trying to remove you before the term of office, they will go to tribunal now. There, before the tribunal, you will appear and say, sir, I have found the fraud. For confidentiality purpose, I cannot reveal it to you. But here is the letter given to the central government. You please talk to central government whether this has come or not, whether it's real or not. In this context, I'm being removed from my office. You have a valid defense. So the tribunal will completely stay the proceedings. Direct the central government to go through the matter and then come back to them. If the central government comes back and says, no, his fellow is overreacting, everything is correct, then you are gone. Because the tribunal will simply confirm your removal and with the consequences and all. And the company may then file a suit against you for defamation, for wrongful thing. So you have to be very, very careful. In case it is less than 1 crore, within 2 days you report to the audit committee, your job over. What will audit committee do with it? I don't know. I don't know, sir. Less than 1 crore, so they say don't come to central government. Suppose Rohit is audit of Chalak Limited and he finds fraud, or he has found he has found or he finds fraud while auditing company and went to report to central government. The director of the company threatens him. What shall Rohit do? Learn karate, kung fu. This is a theme for a wonderful story. Yeah. Normally, lawyers will be shown as heroes. Engineers will be shown as heroes. When have you ever seen an auditor as a hero? Huh? So here you are writing the script for that movie. Yeah. Rohit will be the hero of that movie. You should learn karate, fight. Imagine that story. It will be nice now. Very nice movie story. I always used to think when I was young chartered accountant that there is no story with auditor as the hero. We have lawyers. We even have doctors doing detective work and all that. But once I have not seen an auditor being a hero. So this is a classic example of Rohit auditing Chalak Limited. Could be staking his life. Learn karate. They want that. Don't worry. Okay, that is one thing. Other is go to police and complain. If such a threat was given by him, you are entitled to go to the police and complain, give a criminal complaint against that fellow for threatening to harm you. You can do that. And the flow, hey, that's the end of it. Press will take it up. Auditor threatened, like that now. And you can ask the police to give you protection. But believe me, even if the auditor gives the order, the police give you protection, how long they can protect you? Okay. So, but you have to protect yourself. But it is not impossible. Baba, I don't know how many of you come from Eastern region. Hey, you go that side, that coal district. What is that? Raniganj. What is that? Beyond the eastern side. You have coal belt, Raniganj. What is that? So that side only go. It's ruled by a mafia, boss. If you go around asking if you are auditing their coal companies, only you're out. Okay, you're out. And it'll be very difficult. Okay, UDIN, you are giving me some logic of why my answer is wrong. I will see what it is. UD1 can be unit by sometimes only like net profit, turnover, net worth. If some company forces it, inner transaction, the final value same, then how can we justify that the name of UD generation portal need only some key? No, I'm totally with you, Avdesh Ji. See, you are a great man. You will find a mistake in anything. You will be the ideal auditor. Boss, UDIN is one more protection. The basic protection is actual signature in the financial statement by the directors kept by you in your office. Physical copy of or at least scanned image of the physical documents signed by the director. In addition, see where fraud is there. One more thing is, I'll tell you, if you have not signed the balance sheet and they have forged it entirely, they have forged it, then their UDIN will protect you. Where you have not signed it at all, Baba. How to prove that you have not signed it at all? Suppose you did sign a balance sheet, okay, and they are only falsifying that in terms of content, you are telling what you are telling is correct. And there the only support is having the correct balance sheet with you, with their signatures on it. That is the only protection. In addition to that, UDIN also will protect you where you have not signed at all. And those fellows say you have signed. Now you have a proof. So, like that, you can protect us. For that, you can protect us. I hope I have answered your question. But some protection, believe me, I enjoyed the UDIN protection only when this rascal of a pressman called me. Till then, I will know. That is when I realized how our institute is protecting me. If you don't agree, don't agree. But I feel that if somebody is saying I signed a document, now I am able to say, hey, you are saying I signed it now. It's simple. Sir, thing you do here. Give me the UDIN here. That's all. If that fellow is unable to give UDIN straight away, I don't even have to prove forgery. Where is the UDIN? Without generating UDIN, I would not have given it. No. Such a certificate does not exist. That's all I can say. If still he brings a sign, that will be forged. The assumption is that it is forged because you don't have a UDIN for it. See, the UDIN was actually meant to protect outsiders from fraudulent auditors. That was the idea. That if any auditor gives a fraud certificate, banks will now be able to take action against them by complaining to the institute, etc. That was the idea. But it is really a protection for innocent people like me. When we don't sign, nobody can say I have signed. Because I will simply say, where is the UDIN? Yeah, the reality. See, there is no single protection from risk, sir. There is no single protection. So UDIN is one type of protection from risk. Having the physical copy of the signed balance sheet by the directors, is one kind of protection. Like that, audit documentation is one type of protection. Trail, keeping the documentation is one type of protection. Cassette tapes are one type of protection. So I'm wasting your time by teaching. In audit documentation, you will study how much you have to protect yourself. Documentation is your highest protection. The real protection is your documentation. Did you ask this question? Did they say, give an answer? If you have never asked the question, then you're guilty of. There I'm talking about professional misconduct matters. There the only way you can protect yourself, my dear friend, is maintaining good audit documentation. That is again, alag-alag hai na? So UDIN is also needed. Signed balance sheet is also needed. Good audit documentation also needed. Everything is needed. You have to build a wall of protection around you. And then only you can be, otherwise, statutory, if you're going to become statutory auditor practicing and all, you're exposing yourself. So, you have to be careful. The report shall be sent to the MCA secretary in a sealed cover by registered post with acknowledgement due or by speed post. The report shall be on letterhead of auditor and be signed by the auditor with his seal and shall indicate his membership number. No UDIN. For this, there is no UDIN. Don't worry. The report shall be in the form of a statement as specified in Form ADT4, clearly giving the facts and circumstances which led to your finding. Keep all the papers with you. If you are going to allege fraud, I'm using the word very carefully. You are alleging fraud. Be very, very careful. Because if at all the central government suddenly turns back and says, Your Honor, everything is in clear, nothing is wrong. For whatever reason they'll do. If they do it, you are in deep shit. Be careful. So your documentation your record should be so perfect that central government cannot do any nonsense. They simply have to take action. Even if a little vague, you are out. They will go talk to the company, finish, and then end of story for you. Don't go there unless you are 200% rock solid. Okay? Friends, while I'm there, I'm telling you, many of you may not have the habit of reading books. Many of you may not want to read books also. Nothing wrong. You are absolutely correct. Read only your textbooks. I'm a voracious reader. I told you I have a library of 23,000 books, still growing. Recently, I bought about 50 books. In the last 6 months, I bought about 50 new books. My son also buys and adds to the library. He has his own mini library within my bigger library. All that. But he reads more non-fiction. He reads heavy stuff, political science, spirituality, heavy stuff he reads. I read that, but I also like to read fiction and all that. And one book which I read long ago, which has now, I think the 7th sequel has come, is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's a beautiful novel, Swedish novel, translated into English and big bestseller. It has now been recently, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I don't know when, been made into a movie with Daniel Craig as the protagonist, Blomqvist. And I don't know who acted as Lysander. What is that? The girl with the dragon tattoo. Okay. Why I'm saying now, that's a beautiful story of how a press report, a man will report in press, and that will be shown as fraudulent. And he'll become, his name will go. And a huge suit will be filed against him by the company which he tries to expose. Okay, that is how the story begins. The dragon tattoo begins with that. Blomqvist is totally destroyed by his report. And he has some evidence, but it is shown to be weak. And the company comes out with the statement that he is doing it only with intention to harass them. And they file a huge million kroner suit on him. Millions of kroner suit on him. And he's caught. The story begins at that time and all that. That's how it starts. It's a beautiful novel. 700 pages. Enjoy it whenever you want. Not now. After you finish CA, finally you finish. You have some little free time. You read at that time. But or else watch the movie. It's about hardly 2 hours. You can watch it. The point is, the lesson I'm learning from it is, every fact should be verified and the facts should be supported by documentation or interview or a videotape, whatever. Oh, wow, Aisha. So you watch. Lisbeth Salander, correct. Lisbeth Salander. Rooney Mara, Correct. I forget the game. Thanks for that. Beautiful. Watch the movie in case you are all millennial generation. Like you don't like to read books like Buddhas like me. At least watch the movie. Movie is good. Not bad. Daniel Craig, I don't know, but not bad. Not bad. Okay. I just started watching it. About half an hour I watched. I got busy, so I kept watching. Maybe I'll watch it again. Point is, have everything. Sir, assumption on R&D on like COVID vaccine, cryptocurrency valuation, different auditor may have different values. No, sir. Was R&D was you have to justify. That's what I'm saying. Have documentation. You are saying R&D was spent on COVID vaccine. How are you verifying it? And what are you doing with it? See, R&D, how to account R&D is clearly given in IPR, intellectual property rights. Please understand. I forget the India is, I'm sure you know it. I think it's accounting standard 26. India somehow doesn't go into my brain. I think it's AS26 or something like that. You have to be very careful. You read that. How two people can have different views on how it should be accounted. You read it, apply it correctly. If in that process there are some minor differences, yes, but nothing major. Similarly, cryptocurrency valuation, if it is listed on the stock exchange, if it is listed, or if there is a market value available, take that. If there is no market value, if it is not traded anywhere, take it at cost and give a very clear note that this is not traded, this is not an thing. Or if you want trade, take it as zero value. That is your call. But again, there might be another auditor who says it has value. Correct. Cryptocurrency valuation, different auditor have different views. Express your view clearly. Boss, that is your opinion. Okay? There nobody can catch you out. There nobody can catch you. So long as you have disclosed, see, the cryptocurrency should be shown in the balance sheet at cost. If the market value is there and it is lower, then it should be reduced. And the difference should be booked as a loss. See, I don't treat cryptocurrency as a currency. I treat it as any other financial investment. Do the same logic that you will apply to investment. Yeah. Straight away. You apply the rule. You have, how you can have a doubt there? Okay. Because it is cryptocurrency, I'm not going to give it any special respect. For me, it is like any other investment. You put your money there. Fellow came and asked you to invest, you invested. That's it. Okay. This is my opinion. There is a beauty of being a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is that you can have your own opinion. Opinions, nobody can do anything about it. So long as you have disclosed how you arrived at the opinion. The opinion should have been arrived at based on verification of facts, and then only you form an opinion on the facts. So long as factually you are right, then opinion is opinion. See, in one case, when I was auditing debtors, I found that the company has gone into insolvency. So we verified with the insolvency records, and immediately, I can't show this debt at the full value. And the insolvency proceedings are going on. I can't reduce it to zero also. So I told them to reduce 50% provision. 50% provision. Balance 50%, you keep it. Clearly, we disclose that it is insolvent. So that you have to do it. So that 50%, that's my opinion. Why not 100%? You do it. Then my opinion is 50. Then I give a note. This is the company is under liquidation. May or may not be released. Abundant caution, we are providing 50%. That's all. Your job is over. Cryptocurrency cost purchase so there is no traded value for this. The cryptocurrency is not being traded and valuation is not possible. Or if it is possible, this is the value. Have somebody to do the valuation. Take a valuation report. Adopt it. Rely on that expert and keep that as a record. What do you say? If some donkey is there willing to give a report claiming to be an expert on cryptocurrency, take it. Put that donkey in jail. That's all. What else ensure that it is a qualified professional. If that donkey is giving some certificate, yes. Sir, I didn't read 23K books in one day, sir. I started reading from the age of 11. From the age of 11, I started reading. Of course, out of those 23,000 books, easily about 6,000 are reference books, like dictionaries. And I have a huge collection of dictionaries, encyclopedias, reference books. Okay. Sanskrit English dictionary, Tamil English dictionary, 3 or 4 types. Only on Tirukkural, one of the famous books in India, Tamil Nadu, Tirukkural, I have about 150 books about Tirukkural, various editions of Tirukkural, and many people have written the explanation for Tirukkural in Tamil also, like Parimela Alagar, Manakkudavar. So many people have written. Our great Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mu Karunanidhi, they have all written. Mu Varadarasana. So many people have written their notes on Tirukkural. Extra translations of Tirukkural in English are there for a free. Like that, you'll find a lot of reference books are there in my library. So I read Tirukkural once, and some of these translations, whenever I need, I'll refer. Okay, but Tirukkural full 1,330 verses I read once. That way there are easily about 100 books on Tirukkural. Just for your information. So since you're asking me, time, you should create time, Baba. I read before going to bed. I read half an hour. When I'm in the bathroom, I read one book. I finish it. In a year, I finish 3 books in the bathroom only. When I'm wasting my time in the other activities, I read a book. 5 pages, I read. 10 pages, I read. When I'm in the flight, I read. When I'm in the train, I read. When I'm free, I read on Kindle. Okay? That's all. Yeah, I have Gita Prasraman. It's in front of me. As I am talking to you, that was purchased by my father. There is about 70, 80 volumes of Bhagavatam. All are there. Sorry, we are wasting your time, but Bhagavad Gita itself, I have about 50 versions. Chinmayaji's is there, Chinmayananda, ISKCON is there. So many are there. Anyway, keep buying whenever I want. So maybe I'm a fool to have invested so much, and my wife keeps on telling me, so much money is being wasted on books by you, like that. Okay, that is my passion. Everybody has one. I'm sure you have passion. You may be having a passion in cricket, like that. Movies. I have, my passion is books. Okay, manner of disclosure of Rule 13. I have not started reading audiobooks. I have not started listening to audiobooks. I still prefer reading to hearing. Okay, that is again a psychological point you should note. Some people like to listen. Some people like to read. Some people like to see pictures. These are 3 different, shall we say, ability, 3 different preferences. So when a child or when a student like you doesn't like to read, they prefer to listen, then they should be taught by listening. They should be taught by oral method. Whereas when a child likes to read, then that child will not like to listen. That is why, I'm doing this lecture in 2 ways. One, Srikanth the donkey is talking, and the PowerPoint presentation is also going on. So for those of you who like to read, there. For those of you who like to listen, this. Like that you have to go. Good. I'm so happy that Shivam wants to collect. And nowadays when I was about 15 years old, school, when I was in college, I know little money only, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 500. Those days, 100 rupees, some more. I'll go to the book fair. Some second-hand books I will buy. Some old books I'll buy. Library I used to borrow. And read. And then when I became financially sound, those books which I liked and I could not buy at that time, later I bought it. Later on I bought it. Like that. Anyway, enough about kitabs. Okay, kitabon ka kahani, mad. What do you say? I don't know. My Hindi is very bad, but I'm trying. Chalo. So, Rule 13 gives the manner of disclosure. If in case the matter is to be reported to the board, less than 1 crore, then you should mention the nature of fraud with the description and the approximate amount involved and the parties involved. In case of board's report where the matter is, if it is less than specific amount, you should mention it in this manner. If it is more than 1 crore, you will go to the central government in ADT 4. That is, the board's report in turn should describe the nature of the fraud with the description, approximate amount involved, the parties involved, whether remedial action has been taken or not, etc., etc. Okay? Now, this be careful, because that's why I'm saying, when you are reporting fraud, you have to be very careful, because information obtained in the course of performance of your duty as auditor is being revealed to third person called central government, actually you are bound by your code of conduct not to do it. You are supposed to maintain confidential. But where an auditor reports a fraud in good faith, I may be wrong, maybe, but even then you have to be very careful. But you have to show that you reported the fraud in good faith and in compliance with subsection 12. Then he shall not be regarded as contrary. Better when you are reporting itself, you say, the intention here is to ensure that the intention here is to comply with section 143(12). The intention should be there. Okay. We will come to auditor. Before that, I will react to Shivam Tiwari. Books are our real friends. Absolutely correct, sir. And through books, I have met some of my greatest friends whom I could never meet because some of them died thousands of years ago. Some of them died 100 years ago. But all these people became my friends through books, through their books. Okay. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau. Not only could I not have met them because they are in US and they are no more. Okay. People who lived or living, I cannot meet. Richard Dawkins, my good friend, but I can't meet him, but his books I read. Okay. So on and so forth. Sorry, today's lecture is also becoming a discussion on books. Good. Audit of government companies. Now, government companies audit is slightly different. Because you are not auditing the company. You are auditing an asset belonging to the people of this country. Because the government owns it, people are owning it. So you owe a duty not only to the shareholders, in this case the government, but through the government, the central government or state government, your ultimate duty is to the citizens of our country. And therefore, the audit of a government company is slightly more rigid than for an ordinary company. So special provisions are there. And we also saw special provisions are there for audit appointment. So the CAG shall appoint the auditor. If you remember, under 139(5) or subsequent auditor under 139(7). And the CAG on appointing the auditor will give directions to the auditor to the manner in which the accounts of the government company are required to be audited. In addition to the Companies Act, the Companies Act procedure is there for government company also. In addition to that, the CAG will also give directions. So they will also say, these directions, if you are complying, please confirm it in your report. And what is the action taken thereon? And the impact of the actions. See, so there is, in those days, it was called 6193 report, where government companies, there will be a separate questionnaire given by the CAG. That questionnaire will have to be filled up by us and given. Now, after we have audited, we have certified, and we have given that 6193 report also, or this 143(5) directions also reported in my report, brought into my report, then the central government will get the copy. CAG will get a copy of the financial statements. Now, within 60 days from date of receipt of the audit report, CAG will conduct a supplementary audit. Meaning, the CAG will come and look at the financial statement. This is not an audit of the books of account. This is an audit of the financial statement to ensure that the auditor has done his job correctly. Hey, Avdesh Kumar is asking a question. If I answer that, I'll be violating. But he's asking a very interesting question. Have you tried Hindi books? Boss, I cannot read Hindi, but I love Munshi Premchand. I've read all his short stories in translation, including Hira and Moti, my favorite story. Hira and Moti is my favorite. See, Hira and Moti is a beautiful story. Simple language. I wish I could read it in Hindi. My greatest disappointment in life is I cannot read Munshi Premchand in Hindi. How simple language and how beautiful and how great social injustice is being disclosed by him in such simple language. What a great writer. Similarly, I'm currently reading Ghalib. Mirza Ghalib was a famous Urdu poet, Rektas and Sharis. I'm trying to read them both in Hindi as well as in Urdu as well as in English translation. Trying to understand and enjoying Ghalib. But can I enjoy Ghalib in the same way as maybe those who lived in Awadh or those who lived in Delhi would have appreciated him in his time when they could understand Urdu? No. My enjoyment of Ghalib will be definitely lower. But I'm still trying to read. Malayalam, yes, I can speak and No, but I cannot read. Lipi, no. I can understand Malayalam. Telugu, I cannot read. Little bit I can understand. I have read Amukta Malyada in translation. Telugu, again, regret. I could not read Krishna Deva Raya in Telugu. How many languages can a man know? What a beautiful country we have. Huh? So much literature. And Ezhuthachan, who's written Ramayanam in Malayalam. I cannot read in Malayalam because I cannot read the Lipi. Anyway, good. Sorry for this unnecessary talk. But do you know something? Today, IITs, the Indian Institutes of Technology, and IIMs are introducing liberal arts in their curriculum. Liberal arts. Can you imagine? IIT engineers are being encouraged to study poetry, literature, and all. Modern verse. They are encouraged to read. Because they feel in today's world, merely knowing technical subjects is of no use. You have to go beyond that and be having a liberal education. So they are now including it as part compulsory syllabus. Don't worry, another 5 years, 6 years, our institute will wake up and they will also introduce liberal one paper on liberal arts and sciences. Okay, poetry, astronomy, music. Yeah, that's called liberal arts and sciences, which you can do. Let us see. Good. Let's cut this topic because it's becoming very interesting, but at the same time irrelevant. Okay. Anyway, so the CAG will conduct a supplementary audit and within 60 days and then comment. Usually these comments will be only in the form of Ind AS and ASM. They will only comment about Ind AS and AS. They will go deep into that and find out whether you have word and letter you have, especially Ind AS. So for government companies, the Ind AS will be very, very important. Okay. And every state has AG's office. So for audit of state government company and PSUs, the AG office is... No. State has AG's office, but the AG is a central government body. As I told you now, this AG is a central government, Ministry of Controller of Audit General comes under the Department of Accounting and Auditing Services. Okay, so there is central government. Even though they may have a state office, it is central government. It's not a state government. State government has its own audit, but remember that audit will only audit the state government. CAG also will audit the state government. State government will have its own audit wing in the finance section where they will audit. For example, railway has its own audit wing. Okay, but that is different. The CAG is a public central government. So even state government company, it's a government company. It's a central subject, not state. CAG is central, not state. So for audit of state government company and PSUs, the AG office of state appoint auditor. See, the AG office of the state will appoint, no doubt, depending on the domicile. Okay, but the AG is a central government. It is not a state government body. Okay. Now, I'm ignoring Avdesh Kumar's comment about enjoying ghazals, which I will try to do definitely. Now that they gave me a hint, I will go there. Center is imposing Hindi. Okay, let it impose. Welcome. Let them come. Okay. Any comments given by the CAG upon or supplement to the audit report shall be sent by the company to every person entitled to copies of audited financial statements under section 136(1) and also placed before the AGM of the company at the same time. So, that audit report along with the comments given by the AG will be placed before the company in AGM. Usually the comments will be, see, I have audited some state government companies, okay, where a CAG appointment. I was a partner of an earlier for a short while, I was a partner of another firm, not the firm which I am managing partner of. For certain reasons, I had to move and I had to lead Ajnatavasam, and I was a partner of another firm where we used to get state government audits and all, and there I used to audit, and where at the end of the day the CAG will come and conduct an audit. So we'll be waiting with bated breath whether our audit will be final. So usually finally they'll give nil report. They'll give no comments, nil comment report. That's all. Breathe a sigh of relief, celebrate, and then this do. Even both the company and we will be waiting because if he gives even one comment, it will be, even the company will be in trouble. So we will ensure that everything is covered, points are clearly discussed, and then report. And then, because if the process is clear, there should not be any problem. So long as you applied everything, it will be good. The government company, in addition to this audit of the financial statement, the Controller and Auditor General, okay, in the case of a government company or a company controlled by state government or central government, the CAG may, if he considers necessary by an order, cause test audit to be conducted without prejudice to these provisions. In addition, so the CAG walas will come and do. In some cases, this may, if he considers necessary, they have given a provision for test audit. Okay. So I'm not giving a break. I'm thinking that if I can complete this topic, let us finish it off early now, today. So you're not asking many questions. So I'm able to complete it faster. Now we can easily, if we can complete it at say a certain point in time, we can sort of call it a day if you so desire. Let us see. I'm not giving a break just now. Kindly bear with me. Okay, another 20 minutes later, we will examine. If I still have some more to go, I'll give a small break. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. By 8 o'clock, we'll revisit the question of a break. Where a company has a branch office, the accounts of, now we are moving from government company audits to audit of branches. See, 143 is a huge section here. Huge section. We have seen, we are jumping forward. Now we saw 12 and 13. Fraud. Now we are going back. Government company 5, 6, 7. Now, so I jumped bit and I came back because I wanted to cover duty to report fraud as part of the duties of an auditor. Then I covered government company as a special category of company. Now branch office as a special category of audit, which is covered by the Companies Act. Where a company has a branch office, the accounts of that office shall be audited either by the company's auditor or by any other person. See, simple. If I have the resources, I will do it now. For many companies, we do the complete branch audit also. I'm the statutory auditor. I do the branch. I send my people. Teams are there. They go finish and come. But test audit means normal audit will be as per audit program. Test audit means only certain high value transactions will be taken and sample testing will be done. More like a sample audit. It won't be a complete audit like we do in idea is to just dip reading they will do to see if whether things have been done correctly. If they take a random dip reading and they find even in the dip reading 2 items are discrepant, then the audit itself will be questioned. Oh, that's very serious. If they have ordered for test audit itself, there's some problem. What could happen is some other manner they'll come to know about some discrepancy. Immediately they're worried, hey, what audit you have conducted, man? So they will go. It's not a good thing. Please pray to God that when you're doing a government audit, there should be no test audit. If there's a test audit, at least if they do a test audit and it's found to be audit, good. But that should not result in any negative. Means you should not have ignored any transaction which is discrepant. Okay. See, there may be discrepant transactions that are not as per the rules or as per the conditions. If you have reported it, no problem. If you have not reported it, you are in trouble. See, in government company cases, you have to be even more careful. See, normally, companies have policies, accounting policies. But while auditing, I did not bother too much about it. Because I will be going by internal control issues and I'll be going by broader audit issues. So they may have one view which says 5,000 to 1,000 rupees means it cannot be by check, only by cash. That is their rule. If it is violated, it is internal issue. Suppose they have paid cash 5,000, I will take it, no problem. Because for me, Income Tax Act only is the only criteria. So long as they have not violated IT Act, I have no problem. I may ask why you did. And if it's a consistently done, then I might get into why, hey, what's happening, why this money is being paid. I will raise a query. They will give a reply saying this nature of expense. Close. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? But in a government company, it's not so. The government orders have to be obeyed. The government rules and regulations have to be seen. Propriety issue. Who has to sign? If that fellow should sign, it has to be cleared. Everything should be verified. There you cannot say, I don't need to know. No, you should. And you have to be ensured that they have complied with the norms. In case they have not complied with the norms, you have to report it to the CAG or through that supplementary report, or at least to the board or audit committee, you have to report and say, hey, you're not doing this. the company's auditor's report, the auditor can be, or any other person qualified for appointment as an auditor under Chapter 113. Suppose there are numerous branches, not worth going all the way. For example, banks. See, the central statutory auditor cannot audit all the branches across the country. So they will say, central statutory auditor will be for each region. Within that region, they can select 5 branches and audit it themselves. Balance audits will be given to other people who are qualified. Means members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. If it is a foreign branch, a branch office outside India, then accounts of that branch can be audited by the company's auditor. Or if you feel you don't want to go all the way, you can get it audited by an accountant or by any other person duly qualified to act as an auditor of the accounts. See, we have a client who is having a branch in Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh accounts we don't audit. We ask them to audit it through a Bangladeshi auditor and send it to us. We incorporate it in our final statement. Once in a while we go. Just once in a while I'll go to Bangladesh and just see stock taking. I'll do a couple of internal checks. Hey, things are fine. Good, come back. But otherwise, I rely on the branch auditor. Can a subsidiary and holding company be audited by different auditors? Definitely. Why not? Why not? You can be. They can be different. There is no rule that subsidiary and branch should be. I have myself, see, there was a group where there were 2 companies, both are equally big. So the MD said, Srikanth, you be the auditor for one company and internal auditor for another company. And he will be the, so holding company, I was the auditor and internal auditor of the subsidiary. Then there was another firm which was the auditor for the subsidiary and internal auditor for the holding company. Nothing wrong. Absolutely no problem. So any other person duly qualified to act as an auditor of the accounts of the branch office in accordance with the laws of that country. So Bangladesh, he should be a qualified auditor, member of the institute there. Singapore, he should be a member of the Singapore Institute. Whoever. US, he should be a CPA. UK, he should be a member of ICAW. Like that, you should be. The duties and powers of the company's auditors with reference to the audit of branch shall be as contained in 143, 1 to 4. There is the same duties applicable to the statutory auditor will apply to the branch auditor with reference to the audit of the branch. The branch auditor shall prepare a report on the accounts in accordance with 130, 143, 1 to 4. Mutatis mutandis, suitable changes, and send it to the auditor. See, the branch auditor reports to the auditor, not to the board. Note it, my dear friends. Branch auditor's report is sent to the auditor, not to the board. Board has nothing to do with it. Board or anybody, central government, nobody. It's only the auditor. Then the auditor has to read it, statutory auditor. If it is material, he will incorporate any discrepancy, any qualifications he may incorporate. If it's not material, he will ignore it. Finally, the statutory auditor takes the full responsibility and is accountable to the shareholders. The branch auditor, no, not accountable to the shareholder. Once he has submitted his qualification. But suppose the branch auditor has not given a qualification, but it is discovered by the statutory auditor. That is different. Or if the branch auditor has not pointed out a discrepancy or has not qualified his report, central statutory auditor also ignored, then both are liable. But if the branch auditor has reported, then his liability is on. Thereafter, it is up to the central statutory auditor or the main auditor, statutory auditor to deal. That's all. If he has disclosed it, good. If he has suppressed it in collusion with the board, only the statutory auditor will go to jail. Branch auditor simply smile and laugh and go. For one bank, it happened. The bank was run fraudulently by the MD. Subsequently, the MD was arrested and taken by CBI. At that time, people like me who qualified the branch audit report, simply they couldn't come and talk to us. They were ashamed because, hey, I have clearly said these are all wrong. In my LFAR report, I have noted this and I have given red letter I have given. You fellows ignored it and took money from the bank and you signed balance sheets left, right and center. You go to jail. You get debarred. Why should I? Those auditors were debarred. Those auditors were debarred. I will not name the bank. I will not name the auditor. They were debarred. Branch auditor cannot be touched. How can I be? I did my job and I trusted you and I gave it to you. Then you colluded with the board and you did it for your own benefits. That's nobody's problem. The provisions regarding reporting of fraud by the auditor shall also extend to the branch auditor. So once I have this, but in all cases, I will report to the auditor. But fraud, what happens? Provisions of reporting fraud there. If there is a fraud, I can double jump the auditor, go to the directors or to the CG. Because the provisions regarding reporting of fraud will also apply. There I cannot go to the statutory auditor. Reason, the statutory auditor may be in collusion with the board. So if I go to him, he may suppress it. Therefore, no. There I go directly to the audit board. Board's reply, go to. An auditor who conducted audit in holding company, then in cooling period, yes, he can be appointed as, we discussed this when we were discussing cooling period, Mohammed. Again, I'll tell you. We even discussed a problem. I discussed a problem, Cool Limited and all. Okay. Yes, he can be. Now, to again answer your question, he can be auditor of its subsidiary. Yes, during the cooling period. Why not? He cannot be auditor of that company. That's all. Doesn't say its holding company or its subsidiary company. It's very difficult for auditor to find fraud because audits of accounts are also maintained by the CA. Finding out fraud is countering the mind of one CA experience. Definitely, sir. Sir, because he's maintained by CA, so what, sir? CA means God. Boss, I know how to fiddle around and get the information out, Baba. As you rightly say, that's experience. Boss, I'm not joking, Mr. Tiwari, Shivam. I'm not joking. I'm not boasting also. I can sniff your fraud when I go nearby. I will know, hey, something is going wrong here. Like that. Why I will talk to this CFO guy, CA? You know what I will do? When the audit starts, my team will go and sit in the boardroom. They will be verifying the SAP through the net, calling for information and all that. I will be just going around. Okay. I'll go to the factory floor, simply walking around. I'll talk to the supervisor, who is an engineer or who is a diploma holder. Then he says, sir, you're auditor, sir. You're such a great man. You're coming and talking to me. No, boss. I'm also a human being like you. Tell me. Then we'll go and have a cup of chai. And then he says, sir, all sorts of fraud is going on, sir, at this company. Like that, he will tell me. Then I will come to the secretary who's sitting in the front desk. I will poke her and I will try to get some information. Like that I will do. This nobody. See, this is nothing part of this. You will not study it in your auditing paper, Baba. Nobody can teach this to you in auditing. It cannot be documented. I call it auditing by walking around. Simply walking around, talking to people, keeping my ears and nose open. If everything is fine, everything is fine. If I get a small, discrepancy note there, then I'll call my people and I'll say, hey, you just verify this little more thoroughly, ma. I have a small doubt about this, like that. So like that, my people will sometimes be very, very, very surprised. Sir, how do you know, sir? Baba, you are auditing the books of account, yeah. I am auditing the company. That is the difference. So, not only experience. I have been doing it right from 25 years old. When I was in Pricewaterhouse, right from that time, 22-year-old, I joined Pricewaterhouse as junior officer audit, qualified junior officer audit. From that day, I have been doing ABWA, auditing by walking around. It's not in your auditing syllabus. Don't worry. A day will come when ABWA will become a standard auditing procedure, auditing by walking around. The auditor shall spend some time, relaxed manner, talking to the employees of the company and understanding the company's core business. And in that process, he may come out with some new methods of verification. This is my view, not the views of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, not yet the views of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India or the Board of Studies. Views expressed are those of the member. But so to answer your question, what difficult? Nothing is difficult. You can do it. If you want, you can do it. Okay, the provisions regarding reporting of fraud by the auditor shall also extend to such branch auditor. We already saw that. The provisions of this section shall mutatis mutandis, means with such changes, apply to a cost auditor and a secretarial auditor. These are all audits. We'll be seeing cost audit next slide or so too. I'll be talking about cost audit compulsory and all that. Cost auditor also bound by the same provisions. And secretarial auditor, 204, not in your syllabus. Your last section is 148. With that, no more this thing. Syllabus over. I mean, not over. I've come to the end of syllabus. We go back again for management and administration. So the point is, so 204 is beyond your syllabus. But appointment of managerial personnel, all that. So there you will find secretarial auditor is also to be appointed. All these fellows are bound by the same rules as us. 143, same rules that apply to us will apply. Mutatis mutandis, because ours is a financial audit. So the way, with such changes, it will go there. For example, Caro does not apply to these fellows like that. If any auditor, cost accountant, or company secretary in practice does not comply with the provisions of subsection 12, he shall, in case of listed company, 12 means what? Your fraud. Not your fraud. Fraud. Reporting of fraud. There is a cost auditor also has a duty to report fraud. Okay. Cost auditor has a better chance of reporting fraud. Okay. So if he does not do it, then 5 lakh rupees. And a listed company, any other company, 1 lakh. Earlier it was whatever, I have amended provision only I have given. Auditor has to sign the audit report. Okay. It's a duty of the auditor to sign the audit report. The qualifications, observations, which have any adverse effect, shall be read before the company in general meeting. So it should be read before the company in general meeting. 146. The auditor shall be entitled to receive all notices. The auditor shall, unless otherwise exempted by the company, attend either by himself or through his authorized representative, who shall also be qualified to be an auditor, any general meeting. Okay, so I told you now, the auditor is entitled to receive notice of all general meetings. Any general meeting. Please, it is not only AGM, you are entitled to receive notice of all general meetings. It could be an exam question, no? The company secretary says the auditor is not eligible to receive notice of other general meeting which has no connection with him. Whether it has sometimes. I tell them, look here, Baba, you have your AGM, I can't come. Everything is clean. What is your problem? No, sir, you don't have to come. Then put it in writing and send me a mail. Exempt me. Only then. Otherwise, I'll be caught in this section. So I ensure that, and that's put in the audit file, so that tomorrow nobody can say auditor did not attend the AGM. Of course, I'll send a manager, not a qualified man, just to be there and support the CFO and all. I won't go there. I have better things to do than attending these AGMs. I'll ask the MD, sir, you want me to come? Sometimes the MD will be jittery. He'll say, Srikanth, you come. I don't know what questions they will ask. Okay, I'll come. On that day, you create some time and I'll be there. Sit with you for 1 hour, hold your hand and go. Employee whistleblower comment is confidential document, sir. Board of that, there will be a separate committee for that. Audit committee, now it will have separate committees. There grievance redressal committee. There's a separate committee for this. You will read it later. There, the whistleblower thing will be very confidential. It will not be given to the auditor. But so rarely you'll get to know about whistleblower matters. It will be too confidential. It won't even be minuted in a board meeting sometime. Maybe in audit committee meeting, it might come. You have to go through all that and verify. Even then, you cannot use it for that. See, that can only give you some hint as to where you have to go and verify. And you'll be alerted. But you cannot, that whistleblower comment cannot be brought into your material. But you do your own verification. But now that you are aware of whistleblower, boss, that supervisor sitting there, that AJ, that maintenance manager sitting there is my whistleblower, ma. Before the company knows about it, I know about it, Baba. That is my audit. Then I will verify. I will come out before the whistleblower comes. Before the whistleblower comes, I will come out with it. The audit committee will be worried. Hey, what happened? That whistleblower is giving this audit is also telling how he came to know about it. Without us even knowing, he knows about it. That is the level at which you should work as an auditor. Then only respect will be there for our institute. Hey, what is the motto of our institute? You can see that eagle there on the right hand side of or for you, maybe it is for you also. When you're facing it is the right hand side. What is that eagle? Eagle, below that eagle. What is there? In Sanskrit, not in Hindi. The script is Devanagari, but the language is Sanskritam, Sanskrit. What does it say? From the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, says, Yayeshas Suptheshu Jagrati. Yayeshas Suptheshu Jagrati. That which is awake when others are asleep. That is the role of an auditor. Okay? Please define your work at that level. Then you will not be worried about all these things. Yeah, this stupid excuses. No, I will not give. I can't do, you can't do, this can't be done, that. Anything can be done. If I cannot do it, then I will resign as an auditor and go. I will not do it. That's all. Okay. Don't worry. We can. And of course, without affecting the company, if it's a good company, it will be done simple. If it's a bad company, they will also know who is Srikanth. Both way they will know. Good company, no problem. We'll finish it well on time, give all the data, tuck. Everything is tallying, figures are tallying, everything is clean. And on a broad look at you, I'm unable to see anything wrong. Clean, go. But even if one small problem, hey, side, come on, police will do this further verification. Who are you? What are you doing? Becomes so that is the level which you have got. Boss, that is one thing. Another thing is client relationship. Everything you do with a smiling face. Don't be rude. Everything you do with a smiling face. See, sometimes when I go, some CFOs and some finance guys, they'll be behaving very arrogantly. That fellow would have been qualified. That fellow would have qualified 2 years ago. He'll be sitting there wasting time talking, raising all sorts of queries to me. Now, I'll call him, look here. This audit can be done in 2 ways. One, it's like doctor putting injection. If you keep quiet, don't move, the injection will be put very fast and I will go away. You won't feel the pain. But if you keep on shaking this way, that way, when I'm asking for information, instead of giving information, if you give excuses and if you give some lame excuses from sections and all that, then you are shaking the hand. You will only have pain, not me. Doctor is putting injection. He's a trained expert. He knows how to insert it in the vein. He knows how to eject the medicine and come out. If you keep shaking your hand, don't blame me. You want a painless process or a painful process? Choice is yours. Sorry, this sounds very rude and very blunt, but the fellow will go and you'll get, next time everything will start coming. Said, you cooperate, work will be over in 5 minutes. You keep on wasting my time, telling reasons, bullshit. Then your audit will get delayed. More than that, you will feel pain. And my mails will be coming right, left and center. Finally, your MD will call you. Then your CFO himself may come and say, hey, cooperate with Srikanth and finish the work. Instead of they telling, you do it. Okay. So this is the way you have to approach an audit. If you keep on wasting time and talking all bullshit to bullshit, then bullshit only will be going on. Audit will not go. This is my view based on my 30 years of experience as an auditor. Okay. The auditor shall have the right to be heard at such meetings on any part of the business which concerns him as auditor. Now, punishment for contravention. We have 139, 146. The company, meaning in terms of reporting and all that. Auditor liability is also there. We saw that now for fraud and all. In addition to that, misconduct and all is there. This is for the company and officers for non-compliance with the provisions. 25,000 rupees, 5 lakhs and 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh. For the auditor punishment, where auditor contravenes 139, 144. See, in 139, you have to give a certificate. Now, you give a false certificate that your 20 companies are still there. You are discovered. Fraud, contravention. 144, you are rendering a service which is prohibited and not disclosing and not saying that you are disqualified. 145, all. If you are doing it unknowingly, then fine of 25,000 to 5 lakhs or 4x of the remuneration. Where you are knowing it, where the auditor is doing it knowingly or willfully, then imprisonment up to 1 year and fine 50 to 25 lakhs or 8x, that is 8 times the remuneration. If convicted, meaning action is taken by the institute or by the NFRA, or by the SFIO, and that person is convicted, then entire remuneration should be refunded. And if anybody has suffered any damages, the auditor should pay for the civil damage also. Okay. So, this is it. Now, as I told you, we are coming to the almost end of the topic. Finally, we have only the requirement of an auditor shall be only in where his accounts are being discussed. Okay. See, the auditor shall, unless exempted, attend any general meeting. Then every general meeting he has to attend. Okay. Any general meeting. Any general meeting. General meeting includes AGM, EGM. Both are general meeting. Okay. Compulsory. But many companies don't insist unless they need your... See, mainly they'll need your presence when finance is being discussed. If the CFO is quite capable, like our Vaibhav and all that, they will not invite. They will say, sir, no, sir, we'll take it, don't worry. But if they themselves are jittery, then they will. Thank you, Mr. Avadesh. Thank you very much for giving me such good hope. See, there is one more thing. Our institute, Buddhas like me, this is the only way we can communicate our experiential wisdom to youngsters like you. Through 3 years of articleship, you learn from one man. Like this, if you listen to more and more Buddhas like me, some of us may give you some ideas that can be of use to you. Don't straight away write off old people. Huh? Straight away, don't write off old people. We still possess some knowledge. We still possess some information that may be of use to you. Okay, don't worry. Though, of course, we do realize that youngsters like you have a lot of fresh knowledge that we may not possess. Okay, so it will be a great synergistic partnership when we work together, when the older generation and the younger generation can cooperate. See, my father and I never had a generational issue, because when I did my articles with him, he used to take me around with him and teach me. Not exactly teach, he will do and I will observe. And that way I learned a lot from him. Then in the evening when we are having dinner, he will discuss why I did this, why I did that, explain. Then he will give me further info. That is how I learned. From a 49-year-old man, a 22-year-old man learned. Over the next 6 years, I learned. Even after articles, when I started my own practice also, I used to learn from him. Then slowly get them. That's how we have to learn. No other way. How else to learn? From your auditing book? No. Auditing book will teach. In fact, my father used to take Spicer and Pegler, Gatalia on auditing and teach me. Some important points he'll mark and say, you read this. This is important like that. No, exam point of view also used to teach me. But basic auditing I got from him through his experience. So experience continues generation to generation. Till time with us shall be no more. But that you have to take only by being polite and humble. That if you are arrogant, you will lose it. That the senior will simply avoid teaching you. He'll say, hey, do this. You are right. Yeah, absolutely correct. When the minute a senior is telling, you are correct, sir, please. That means that the senior is thinking, hey, this fellow cannot be taught. Why waste time? Let him go. Let us leave him with the certainties of his life. Let him be happy with what he's doing. Like that, they will. That means that the senior has made up his mind not to waste his time on you. The minute a senior says, yeah, you are correct, sir. Absolutely correct, sir. Like that, if you are telling, that means, chalo yaar, let's leave this flow. Whereas another guy will call him and give him more and more information because he is willing to learn. That is the difference. Okay. Okay, Shivam, thank you. But 4 to 5 hours I cannot teach. Okay. Sorry. Finally come to cost audit section 148. The central government may prescribe maintenance of particulars relating to the utilization of material, labor or other items. If you remember, the books of account to be maintained under section 128 included details relating to utilization of material, cost records. But this is not compulsory for all companies, only for certain class of companies. So the central government shall issue an order prescribing the maintenance of particulars relating to cost, like material, labor and all. So for certain industries, they will do it. There's a list of industries for which the central government has prescribed maintenance of cost records. They will consult the regulatory body connected with that industry or etc. and they will only then do it. The classes for which maintenance of cost record is prescribed is contained in Rule 3. You don't have to know that. Just have to know that for certain classes of companies, like for example, sugar industry, cement industry, cost records are prescribed. Like that, many industries, chemical, bulk chemicals, everything. Out of those companies required to maintain cost records, such companies covered by Rule 4 will be covered by mandatory cost audit. So Rule 3 gives those industries where cost record prescribed to be maintained, companies for which maintenance of, they won't say name of company, they will say companies engaged in the manufacture of cement, clinker, like that they will say. Companies engaged in the manufacture of Gansari sugar, pure sugar, brown sugar, everything. Like that they will give. So any company which is in its industrial license, if it finds this item is included, it has to comply with cost records. Out of that, they have made certain companies, it's mandatory to have cost audit. So this is something you might want to keep in mind. Cost records to be maintained by companies where turnover is not less than rupees 35 crores. So even within the industry, if that industry has been coming under the cost audit, only where the turnover is not less than 35 crores, they have to maintain cost records. Okay? Then out of this, certain companies should have mandatory cost audit. Because unless cost audits are maintained, cost records are maintained, how can I audit? So that is that. So overall annual turnover from all products and services during immediately preceding financial year is greater than or equal to 50 crore. This is in regulated sector where there is a price fixation or government regulation. Today, regulated sector very, very less. I think sugar still comes in regulated sector. Certain essential commodities come in regulated sector. Automobile is not in regulated sector. Electronics is not in regulated sector. Okay. Then the overall turnover from all products and services during immediately preceding financial year is greater than or equal to 50 crores. And aggregate turnover is greater than or equal to 25 crore. Please note, first that industry should come under cost records under Rule 3. Then its turnover should be more than 35 crore. Then out of those which are maintaining, if it's a regulated sector, the turnover from all services and products should be more than 50 crore. And in the preceding financial year is greater than or equal to 50 crore. And aggregate turnover of this product is 25 crore, about 25 crore. Okay. Similarly, if it is a non-regulated sector, overall annual turnover from all products and services during immediately preceding financial year is 100 crore. So, two conditions. And the turnover for this product or service where the audit has been prescribed, that commodity, 35 crore. For example, if a company has sugar division, okay, it also has industrial alcohol, it also has some other. So, all put together 100 crore. And the sugar alone more than 35 crore or whatever. So, both conditions should be satisfied. The overall aggregate, the total turnover should be more than 100. And the aggregate turnover of this product, this service should be more than, greater than equal to 35 crores. So, these are the limits. If these, 100%, India Cements Pakka has to comply with cost audit. Don't worry, 200% they have to comply with. They have a cost audit also. Rice, sugar mill, everything is coming under cost audit. Yeah, definitely. Again, turnover, based on turnover, cotton, everything is coming under. Cost audit shall be conducted by a cost accountant who shall be appointed by the board on such remuneration as may be determined by the members. Once upon a time, they said if sufficient number of cost auditors are not there, then the cost audit can be conducted by a chartered accountant, member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Okay. But now they have said it should be done only by a cost accountant. Okay. No person appointed under section 139 as an auditor shall be appointed for conducting the audit of cost records. But believe me, this clause is out of fear only they have put. Because earlier, a chartered accountant in practice, as a chartered accountant, could conduct cost audit. Please understand. A chartered accountant, as a chartered accountant in practice. Today, only a cost accountant in practice can conduct cost audit. And why I will become a cost accountant in practice? Because then I cannot be a chartered accountant in practice. I can't do both. I can't be a cost accountant in practice and a chartered accountant. They won't permit. Cost accountants won't permit. CA has no problem. I'll be part-time practice here, but they won't allow. Similarly, company secretary, they won't allow. If I want to become practicing company secretary, I should not be a practicing CA. Okay, but so there it's of no use. I'll be part-time company secretary, part-time CA. There is no use. Because to do secretarial audit, I should be a whole-time practicing company secretary. Whereas here for conducting a company audit, you not be a whole-time practicing CA. Even a part-time CA can sign. If you remember from your appointment consent. So there it's actually this is out of fear only they have put, nothing else. They are still worried about us. Okay, because earlier the number of cost auditors was less. Now the cost accountants number is somewhat increased. So there are enough people. So they will do it. But so for the record, you can say statutory auditor cannot become the cost auditor. Statutory auditor cannot be the cost auditor. The Cost Accounting Institute, there is an institute called Institute of Cost Accountants of India. It's called ICA. Unnecessarily confusing with us. and we have to keep on, they have to keep on telling, I am not member of CA Institute, I am not member of, then why you are calling yourself ICA? Why you can't call yourself some other name? No, I will call ICA. We are also ICA. Then they have to only keep on telling, as a CA, I don't have to bother. I say I'm a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants, ICA. I don't have to, I'm not a member of the Cost Accounting Institute. But they have to keep on telling they are not member of CA Institute. Because somebody may confuse, sir, you are ICA member. No, not this, that ICA. This is Cost Accounting. Okay, thank you. They have to tell. CA need not tell. Okay. Why they are confusing with our name, I don't know. Because then they actually want to call themselves cost and management accountants. That permission they are not getting. CMA they can call, but the institute name they are not allowed to change. God only knows why. Seriously, I'm a member of the Institute of CA and I'm a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries. Unfortunately or fortunately, I never qualified as a cost accountant. Yeah, questions relating to limits could come, sir. Madam, please, this slide, you try to remember it. Please, they might give you a question with all this and they can ask you whether cost auditor is to be appointed or not. Because that is a question that chartered accountants have to answer, whether cost audit is applicable or not. Many companies call me, Srikanth, should we have cost audit or not? Immediately, I'll take this slide only. This is the slide I will refer to, and I will look at it and give the answer. Yeah, there could be questions related. I'm not aware, sir, whether utensils and glass industries, Avadeshji, come on, you go to the Google and find out, or go to the my MCA site, you will get the entire list, and please find out. Such question will not come in the exam, whether this industry is there, that industry is there. Okay, but for what it is worth, go and have a look at it. So, the central government will prescribe specific audit of items of cost. They will give a report. Separate report is there. Okay. The board shall appoint the cost auditor on the recommendations of the audit committee, where there is an audit committee. The audit committee shall recommend the remuneration of the cost auditor, and that will be considered and approved by the directors. This remuneration subsequently to be ratified by the shareholders. In case there is no audit committee, board will appoint the cost auditor. Please note it, Your Honor. Please note it. The cost auditor is appointed by the board of directors, not by the members in general meeting. And they are only reporting to the board. We report to the shareholder. We are appointed by the shareholders and we will report to the shareholders. They will only report to the board. The audit committee conducted on 148 shall be in addition to the audit conducted on 143. See, simply for fun, they are putting all these things. It's an addition, 100% addition. Statutory auditor compulsory. Cost audit, if you want, we can have. Every company will have statutory audit. Okay, only cost auditor, there are some limits above which you will not have. 100% statutory audit is there, Baba. I don't know why they put all this type of sentences in the act. Just as a joke, I think. The qualifications, disqualifications, rights, duties and obligations applicable to company, so far as may be applicable, will apply to cost audit. Agreed. We already saw that now. All the provisions of disqualification, qualification, appointment, etc. will apply to cost audit also. Except that cost auditor is appointed by the board. Earlier, cost auditor was appointed, recommended by the board to the central government. And central government will clear the appointment. Only then, like that. Now they have removed all that. Board can appoint. It shall be the duty of the company to give all assistance to the cost auditor. Okay, etc. Sorry. Cost auditor will submit his report to the board of directors. Then this will be furnished by the company to the central government within 30 days. In case there is any reservation or qualifications, they will give full thing. So it's a very, very delicate game they have to play. And the cost auditor, he has to give certain reservations and qualifications to show that he's doing his job. But that should not be so serious as to lose his job. So it's a very, very thin line you have to cross. Okay. But whatever explanation or reservation is there, you have to give the board has to give its reasons. The central government may, if found necessary, call for further information in case they feel. So the company shall furnish the same within such time as may be specified. Friends, cost audit, in my humble view, is unnecessary. If your company wants to have cost information as part of MIS, it will automatically set up a pakka cost department. Where, for example, automobile industry costing department is thorough. In fact, the CEO of Ashok Leyland, Mr. Seshasai, began once he was in cost audit department. He's a cost accountant. So, where cost accounting is needed, don't worry, that company will set up a costing department. Many companies in SME sector I have helped them to set up cost records as a chartered accountant. One of my assignments I have done. Why? Because they need it as part of information to the management to know whether they are making profit in one product, in another product, or which is better, etc., etc. They need cost information, and cost records are very much needed. An audit, I seriously don't know. But where the company is huge, the central government feels, hey, this is needed for you. So, where public money is involved, whether it is being correctly used. Anyway, if there is a default in complying, if you don't appoint the auditor or whatever, the company and the officer shall be punishable. As provided in 147.1, same punishment. And the cost audit will be as per 147.2 to 4. Same punishments. So, as I told you, we could have completed the topic today before that. So, that's why I did not give thing. Which Srinivasan are you talking about? You mean India Cement's car? Yeah. My Rotary Club, we gave him an award once. Okay, vocational service award we gave him. Definitely I met him. What's so great about meeting him? I'm so happy. He's a great man, agreed. He's a big shot and all, but so what? I met him. If you're talking about that Srinivasan. Because, he's got that cricketing thing, the IPL thing. He's a big shot for you. I met him. So what? Hi. His brother also I met. Hi. What else? At a certain level, you are not impressed by big shots here. Because we have seen big shots becoming small shots. We have seen very small people becoming great people. We have been part of that journey of success. So everything becomes same for us. You are a good man, happy. Small man, big man, I have no care. Big man also doesn't impress me. Small man also, I have no. I will look at his potential and see whether he'll be able to do. Good show. Fantastic. Let's enjoy the balance portion of the Saturday evening, weekend. If at all you would like to go and do something after this, please go ahead and enjoy yourself. Have a great evening ahead. Bye. Sir, class over, sir.